game on.
A few moments later.
Alright, this is starting to feel like a humiliation ritual. So Katy Perry is continuing to go viral, but for all the wrong reasons. From her Cringe Lifetimes tour, to her going up to space in Jeff Bezos's giant dildo. Oh my god! The backlash just seems to continue and continue. But it keeps getting worse because old stories are even surfacing about Katy Perry suing a nun who actually died in court, while essentially Katy Perry was trying to steal her home.
And to Katy Perry to please stop. It's not doing anyone any good except hurting a lot of people.
So at this point, even Wendy's has been asking if we can send Katy Perry back to space, which, to be honest, would be better than watching her dance next to a guy in a poo costume on a giant toilet. Why is there a piece of corn in the poo? Like, this is what she was charging fans, anywhere from $750 to $1,000 to see, which is absolutely outrageous to expect people to pay that. When a lot of people are struggling financially, it is tough times at the moment. And all to see a show that looks like it's a disturbing cross between a Diddy fantasy and a kindergarten concert, which is insane. And it clearly shows how out of touch Katy Perry is with her fans. She expects people will just throw money at her while she puts in no effort at all. And I guess she finally figured this out, because if we look at Ticketmaster, all of her arenas are struggling to sell tickets. The blue parts are empty seats. And this has actually led her to drop the price from $1,000, which was insane to begin with, to as low as $89, because no one is showing up, and she's been performing to half-empty arenas.
I'm fast as boy. Still fast as boy. Come get some. Do you have any idea how fast I am?
Yeah, so I guess she's still getting used to Earth's gravity after 11 minutes in space. Like, what is that? But it's just amazing that Katy Perry is still wondering why people aren't turning up to her shows with performances like that. And the internet has been absolutely roasting her for this. This is what happens at concerts where the artist has no talent. Too much moon dust, midlife crisis. I thought this was JoJo Siwa. Well, Katy Perry is definitely giving JoJo Siwa a run for her money, that's for sure. So it turns out that Katy Perry might be feeling the pinch on her bank account with no one showing up to her arenas, because on her website she is selling a doll of herself for $175. Like, what is with the outrageous pricing scheme that she's doing? I guess she's hoping her star power will get people to spend this amount of money on her, but it's just so out of touch and outrageous to expect people to pay $175 for a super overpriced doll. But hey, at least the Katy Perry lunchbox is a bit more reasonably priced, right? So when Katy Perry isn't trying to sell extremely overpriced dolls or tickets, it turns out she's throwing pizza at her fans. Ah yes, I love the rich millionaire celebrity throwing scraps to the peasants. Like, that's the kind of vibe I get from this. I mean, who thought this was a good idea? Even if you do catch it, half the topping would probably splatter all over you, you'd get sauce all over your nice clothes. But it actually gets even worse because Katy Perry has actually done this more than once. Like, how many times has she thrown some sloppy, disgusting pizza at her fans? Like, does she expect that woman to eat it off the ground? Throwing food like this looks disgusting. Since when is it a good look to throw messy, greasy food at a group of very nicely dressed fans? This is awful, Katy. Please like this picture, only Jesus can save you. I would never do something like that to my funds. This is disrespectful. I mean, yeah, imagine dressing up, probably paying Katy Perry's outrageous ticket fees just to have food thrown at you like you're some kind of criminal in the medieval ages, having lettuce and tomato and tossed at your head. Like, I guess she lost her judgment before she went to space. But about Katy's Lifetime tour, I guess we should have seen this cringe performance coming, because there's even old videos of her trying to stage dive on fans, and it did not go well. Yeah, so I'm not sure how she ended up upside down, but I feel like it was a warning sign for her current tour. Like the universe was trying to warn us all. So another thing we have to talk about is, I'm sure you've all heard of her flight on Jeff Bezos's giant dildo up to space, you know, polluting the environment, with each passenger emitting over 1 lifetime's worth of carbon emissions. Well, an old video has surfaced of her lecturing everyone on climate change.
Hi, I'm Katy Perry. Let's take a journey and see how man-made climate change is hurting children around the world.
Ah yes, she really cares about the kids, guys. I mean, I just love how it's always the rich millionaire celebrities flying around on private jets and rockets, dropping tons of CO2 into the environment, that decide to lecture us on climate change and tell you that you should recycle and buy a Tesla because you're polluting the environment. Like, the hypocrisy is just insane. But it's all okay, guys, because she feels very connected to love.
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give, and how loved you are until the day you launch. I mean, it is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust, and this whole journey is not just about going to space.
It's not just about going to space. I mean, they were acting like they went on a 200-year journey to undiscovered planets and not an 11-minute ride that barely left the atmosphere. And that, let's be honest, was all just a PR stunt to promote her Lifetime's tour. And, ironically, drop a lifetime's worth of pollution. And of course, everyone saw through it for what it was. People aren't as stupid as Katy seems to think they are. So the last thing I want to talk about is an old story is surfacing again about Katy Perry launching a lawsuit which involved a nun collapsing in court, and they actually died in the middle of the courtroom.
Yes, in 2018, one of the nuns dropped dead in the middle of a court appearance during this battle Katy Perry had over the purchase of the home the nuns lived in. So this estate that Katy Perry purchased in 2015 had been bought by the nuns back in 1972 when they pulled all their money together. Then in 2011, the archdiocese were forcing the nuns to relocate, they believe, because they were trying to find buyers. The nuns, of course, still believe that they had every right to sell the property. The archbishop agreed to sell the property to Katy Perry, but the nuns did not want to sell it to Katy. They instead wanted to sell it to a restaurateur, Dana Hollister. The nuns did not want this property to end up in Katy Perry's hands, so they sold it to Hollister. Hollister moved into the property, but then the archdiocese and Katy Perry end up suing Hollister. Katy Perry ends up the rightful owner of this house and wins her case against Hollister for millions of dollars, and Hollister declares bankruptcy. Then, when going to bankruptcy court, the nuns went to court to support Hollister, and that is when one of the nuns dropped dead in the courtroom.
So obviously that's extremely tragic that a nun collapsed and died because of what was essentially just millionaires fighting over a mansion. And although Katy Perry did win the lawsuit, there were also reports that before she won, she tried to win over the nuns by showing them her tattoo of Jesus and even singing a hymn. Like, we saw a very similar thing with her spaceship. She thinks everyone can be won over with shallow PR moves like being connected to love and sacrifice in space. It's all just so ridiculous. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments and make sure to subscribe.